Hi, I'm Ben Murdoch, the Songwriter Coach. Now, the last couple of videos have all been about writing powerful lyrics. In this video, I introduced the sense formula, which helps you to write awesome raw material for your lyrics, which really will connect with the listener. And then I looked how that formula worked in action by looking at Ed Sheeran's classic, Castle on the Hill, in this video. Now, lyric writing can be really tough. Sometimes it's easy to get stuck on a lyric and not know where you're going with it. This video is about a technique to shake things up and really get you going away in a really focused way. And to help demonstrate how this technique works, I'm going to be using Adele's song, Someone Like You. If that sounds good, then go and hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. So I call this the don't sweat it technique. If you're trying to plow through and write and it's just not working, you're really sweating over the lyrics, then stop. Don't sweat it. Instead, start with the ending and try. A different, much better kind of sweat, scent and moisture free. Now, let's look at exactly how this works. So when you find yourself struggling, you need to ask yourself 3 questions about your song lyrics. They are what, why, and how. Firstly, what? What happens? What's the story? Imagine jumping to the last page of a book for a sneak peek. Now, is it a book that sounds worth reading? Well, probably not now, because you've just spoiled the ending by reading the last page, but you get the picture. The writer of that book will almost certainly have sat down and crafted the perfect ending long before they wrote that last page. They knew exactly where they were going, and writers know how important it is to know where they're going, because if they don't, the reader won't, and they won't stay with them. You may have started a film or a book and never got to the end. That might have been because of personal taste, but it might also be because you just didn't want to go on the journey the writer was taking you on. You felt they didn't know where they were going. And that's a huge problem for any writer. And as a lyricist, you're a writer. First off, you need to be really clear what you're writing about, where the story's going. Now, if we look at Adele's song, Someone Like You, we see that it's a song about lost love. That's the what. But that's not going to be enough to make a great story or a great song. So we move on to the next question, which is why. Why are you telling the story? Why does it matter to anyone other than yourself? This is the stage where you hook the listener. It's the emotional trigger. You're showing them that you're worth listening to, not like that book or film that you couldn't get through to the end of. You've made sure that you know where you're taking them, and they're going to want to come with you on this ride, on this journey, this lyric. It might help to imagine that you're chatting about this situation with a close friend rather than a faceless audience. Friends want to know the why stuff because they care. And because you want listeners to care, you need to treat them like they're your best friends and tell them the story like they're your best friend, not just an acquaintance who you're just giving a guarded summary of the story to. So, Someone Like You is about Adele not getting over her lost love. It's the raw pain that she still feels. That's the overall why, and that should draw the listener in. Okay, so now on to the final crucial question, which is how. How does the story unfold? How are you going to tell this story? The how step really is the story, which is the lyric. Now, not every song has a big story or plot, but anything with words has some form of structure. Even a shopping list is going to have some form of structure to make it easier to get around the shop. Well, mine does, because I want to get out as soon as possible. So I've learned to streamline. So to do this how step, you need to work out what information to include and be really sure why you're including it, why it's important. So how really is a series of mini what and why questions. So you have your overall what and why. So this song's about lost love and the fact that she's not over it. And then you hit them with the details of the story, the what happened and why it's important to you. And that's how you tell the story and write the lyric. Now imagine you just told your friends that you're not over your ex. That's the overall what and why, the macro level. So after they finish gasping and getting in a huge order at the bar, they sit you down and ask you what's going on. They want the details, the micro level. So you take a deep breath and begin telling the story in the way you want to tell it. And that's the how. You're choosing what to tell them based on why it's so important. All the little events of the story need to be there for a very good reason. And of course, in the bar, you've got an audience hanging on your every word. So make it a good story and tell it well. It's the same with writing lyrics. So let's look at how the whole process works using Adele's song, Someone Like You, to demonstrate. So we find out the overall what straight off is Lost Love with Adele's opening lines. And they go like this: I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl, and you're married now. Now, I love this introduction because of everything it says without saying it. It's second-hand information that she heard on the grapevine and wasn't told directly by him. And that's really evocative, of course, because you immediately know she and the old flame are no longer in contact. So a heartbreak situation is clear from the outset. But why is it important that Adele is telling this story? People break up all the time and hear that an old boyfriend or girlfriend is now married. Why should we care? Because Adele isn't over it. That's the why. And it's really important. It's a really important hook. But a story only works if the storyteller knows how to sell it by looking after the how question. It's what happens after you sit down at the bar, how you tell them the story. So in listening to the story, we find that after she found her ex had married, she took it on herself to turn up at his house, uninvited as she says. Now that's an event, that's a what, and it's a great one because it's caused proper tension in the story. The first thing you think is, why? Why did she go? Is she crazy? And asking why is the next step. So why did she go? At this point in the bar, you're on the edge of your seat wanting to know. Well, because she says she just had to. She couldn't fight it and she hoped he would see her face and know that for her, it's not over. Wow, that's ballsy. It's also really awkward and tense, so it's a great response to the why question. And now the whole scene is playing like a black and white romance film. Her at the door, maybe with pouring rain coming down, and it's a last shot at love perhaps. So Adele chose a really strong what, why, and she told it how she wanted. And when you're writing and ask yourself these what, why questions, if you can give yourself convincing responses which make you feel happy, then crack on and tell it. If not, you need to rethink by looking at different events and asking why they would be important and should they make it into the song. Now, if you're Adele's friend at the bar right now listening to this story that she's telling, you're now thinking, well, what happened next? You're on the doorstep, but what happened? So now we're back to the what question. She's already alluded to the fact that her ex is acting differently around her on the doorstep. Old friend, why are you so shy? And she seems to accept defeat in typical British stiff upper lip style. So after all the melodrama, she announces, never mind. But straight after this, she hits us with the painful truth. I'll find someone like you. She doesn't see herself letting go anytime soon, does she, with that line? Even her next love will need to be like him. This really does make the story interesting. But despite the pain, there isn't a bitterness, because in the next part of the song, she wishes him the best. And then she drops the killer line, don't forget me, I beg. I'll remember, you said. And this is their brief and quite heartbreaking final conversation. So the lyrics constantly shifting from sweet to bitter and back again. And that's confirmed by the later line, who would have known how bittersweet this would taste? If you ask yourself why all these things are included in the song, I'm sure you can give really strong reasons. They're important and they colour the song beautifully. And with that, a very full and structured lyrical plan or story has been put into place. And of course, the lyrics are held up by a very simple but beautiful melody. So from this example, we see that the how part is all about the details of the story, and they must be there for a very good reason. So the whole of the process of Don't Sweat It is to first know what you're writing about, so you know where you're going. Then know why. Why is it important? Why should the listener care? Then and only then tell the story how you want to, but check what you're including, all those details of the story, by asking why it's important that they're in the song. Now, if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and click the bell to be notified when my new videos are released. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.